The youngins who are fans of the Washington Commanders, they could really care less about past legacy, and this is why I'm going to tell you this. And welcome back to another podcast here on the Washington Football Maniacs channel. My name is Greg Sykes. I'm your host, and this channel is dedicated to news and commentary for the Washington Commanders. If you're down with that, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel. And when you do, also hit that notification bell so you won't miss any other video releases. If you also want to support this channel, you can do so by becoming channel members. And you also can visit our partners here at Mint Mobile.
Have you ever thought to yourself, why in the is my wireless cell phone bill so high? What are you paying all of that money for? Well, at Mint Mobile, you can get all of those features for a fraction of the cost. They are built on the nation's largest 5G network, and they keep their costs low because they directly sell to you. Switching to Mint Mobile is so easy. It took me less than 15 minutes using Mint Mobile's eSIMs card. And if you don't have an eSIMs card with your cell phone, just get in touch with Mint Mobile and they'll send you a SIMs card through the mail absolutely free. Big Wireless wants you to think that they are the only game in town, but let's send them packing. Switch to Mint Mobile today. Go to our link down at the bottom in the description. Try mintmobile.com/maniacs to get started today. And get this special offer for new customers. Get any plan on Mint Mobile for $15 a month. That's right, $15 a month for any plan on Mint Mobile, but you gotta act now. Now let's get back into the podcast.
So I know the young fans right now are probably starting to say a few choice words and probably going to cuss me out over this, but please stick with me and just hear me out for a second. The reason why that I'm saying that I don't believe that younger fans really give a hoot about Washington Commanders or Washington football legacy is the fact that, well, for their legacy in the past, however many years they've been watching football, they have not seen a team that has been a winning organization. Their past, so to speak. And I'm talking about I'm talking about fans that they're probably still in their 20s. All that they have ever known is Dan Snyder owning the team and the team just being perennial losers, with the exception of a sprinkled in winning season here and there. But for the most part, they don't really have anything that they feel tied to as far as legacy. So whenever you start to hear about rebranding and things like that, and the big deal about we need to stick with the colors, we need to stick with the legacy, we need Hogs needs to be part of it, they don't really grasp why that's so important, because they were not around during the glory years. They were not around to see the Redskins win 3 Super Bowls out of the 4 appearances that they had back in the 80s and early 90s. They don't know anything about that. They don't know about a team that is always a favorite to at least make it back to the playoffs year in and year out. They don't understand that type of, I guess, what's the word I'm trying to look for? That the expectation of winning each and every year, of making it to the Super Bowl each and every year. That was the expectation back in the 80s, 90s. And so they have not been able to witness that. And even people who, fans who are in their early 30s, you guys missed out on the Super Bowls. You might have been old enough to see the 91 Super Bowl, but you're still probably a baby back then. And so even though that you got to kind of witness how the franchise was handled prior to Dan Snyder, all of those seasons except for maybe one were pretty much losing seasons every single year. So you didn't understand the glory years even at that point. And so a lot of fans who are 30 years and younger really don't understand what's the big deal with this legacy. Why do we need to be tied to a hog? Why are you so bent on this Redskins name or the logo and things like that? Why can't you just let that be? Why is it that we have to stick with burgundy and yellow? Why is it that we can't go with a different color scheme? Why can't we be, blue, red, white, and blue? Or why can't we be black and yellow and things like that? Let's just make everything. Let's separate ourselves from the past. Well, really, what young fans are saying, they're not talking about separating from the glory year past because they didn't witness that. They're talking about wanting to be able to forget the past that they grew up watching because that past was a losing past. So they're okay to get rid of any hard feelings, anything that has to do with their version of Redskins that they saw growing up. And it's okay. Those are usually the ones who are going to enjoy the black and yellow uniforms. They're the ones who can seem to grasp and hold on to Commanders as a name a lot better than older fans, because older fans, it is just the simple case that you get yourself, you hit your wagon to what you saw. And a lot of us older fans who are 40 years and older got to witness the glory years. And so, the Redskins name, the colors, the logos, all of that, the history, the hogs, all of that means something to us because it meant something back then when the team was winning Super Bowls. And so you have to understand it from an old folky, okay, boomer. Well, I'm not a baby boomer, by the way. I'm not that old. But you got to understand it from that point of view. That's the reason why you don't want to lose sight of that history, because that history is a part of a very successful history for the franchise. And so you need to make sure that you always remember that. And hopefully we have an ownership group that grew up Redskins fans. Josh Harris grew up as a Redskins fan. And so I don't think that he would be open to completely disassociating the current team with anything that was successful for this franchise back in the 80s and early 90s. I don't think he wants to do that. Honestly, I think that had Josh Harris taken over before the Redskins name got retired, he probably would have kept the name. He probably would have figured out a more, probably a better way of keeping the name. And if not, he probably would have changed it to something that was similar because he understands the legacy. And so whenever I see folks on social media and they talk about how, why do we have to keep the same burgundy and yellow? What is it with that? Let's just get rid of all this. Let's go all black. Well, because that is not the identity of this team. We feel like the identity of the team got taken from a lot of the fans a couple of years ago, but we're willing to move on with it. But at the same time, I think you always need to keep things tied to history. You don't see the Dallas Cowboys, for instance, changing from the silver and blue to, now we're going to be green and orange or something like that. I mean, you don't see that. Now, you can say, well, what about the Tennessee Titans? They went from having the Houston Oilers, tower, rig tower, whatever you call it, on the helmet, white helmets, and their version of blue jerseys to what the Titans have now. And it's like, well, yeah, but the team was moved, the team's name did change, but they still have blue in their color scheme. They still try to have something tied back to their history. But I think overall, I totally get why young fans are more willing to not worry about past legacy, because they want to be able to experience their own legacy. They want to be able to experience Super Bowls in the modern day. They want to have something they can cling to and actually witness for themselves. And so I totally get that. And I totally get the fact that I was extremely lucky to be growing up as a youth in the 80s and being able to watch the Redskins play in Super Bowls. The heated rivalries between them and the NFC East teams, more so than what it is now. And just it was a fantastic time for football back in the day. And the thing is, what really made it special for me was knowing that you could always know the Redskins were playing, because you could see those helmets. They're wearing those, most of the time they're going to wear those white jerseys with the burgundy pants. And you just knew it was Redskins football. And so that's something that I think this franchise is going to want to keep, even if they wind up rebranding again away from the Commanders. I think they'll always keep that color scheme. And if they don't, honestly, shame on them. I think they should, because I think that you need to keep some sort of ode back to when things were really glorious and super, because that's the reason why that a lot of the youth are fans, because their parents were able to witness all of that Super Bowl glory. And so had we not had that, who knows, maybe a lot of those fans would have changed to Ravens fans, or not even rooted for anybody close by. And you're seeing that a whole lot more in Washington now, because probably Washington, I would assume, is probably becoming more of a melting pot of transplants than anything else, honestly. But overall, I get you, young fans. I get you. I understand. But you also got to look at it from the old fogies as well. One day, I hope you get to witness the joy of seeing this team win a Super Bowl, and then you'll understand. And you don't want those memories and that feeling to ever go away. And for us fans who got to see that, and knowing how bad things have been since our last Super Bowl, you don't want to let go of any of that. You always want to keep that in your memory. And of course, we have in our memories of being able to go back, watch those videos on YouTube, maybe DVDs and things like that. But just being able to witness that for the first time, obviously not knowing who was going to win the game, it was something special. And so that's why I asked for young fans, please care a little bit about the old legacy, because I believe that you're going to understand down the road, when this team becomes successful again, why it's so important to us older fans who have held on to the old legacy for all of these years. And once you get a taste of that, you'll definitely understand. That said, folks, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, give it a share. And with that said, I will see you in the next one. Take care.